The ark is of mosaic work, finely and curiously wrought, but time and accidents have very much defaced the external ornaments of it. After this, he had free access to the Book of Jasher. The first thing which commanded his attention was a little scroll entitled The Story of the Volume of Jasher. This informed him that Jashar was born in Goshen, in the land of Egypt, that he was the son of the mighty Ilive, who was general of the Hebrews, while Moses was with Jethro in Midian, that on the embassy to Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, Jashar was appointed verger to Moses and Aaron, to bear the rod before them. That as he always accompanied Moses, Jashar must have the greatest opportunity of knowing the facts he had recorded. From that, his great attachment to truth and uprightness, he early received his name. It's in Hebrew. That it was a common saying in Israel of him, "Behold, the upright man." Okay, so he was given that name, Jashar. He received it. That Jashar wrote the volume which bears his name, that the ark was made in his lifetime, that he put the volume therein with his own hands, that Jashar, the eldest son of Jashar, kept it during his life, that the princes of Judah successively were custodians of it, thereof, that the ark and book in the last Babylonian captivity was taken from the Jews, and so fell into the hands of the Persian monarchs, and that the city of Ghazni had been the place of his residence for some 100 years. This excited Alcuin and a great desire of reading the volume itself. The work was divided into 37 parts or portions. One of the portions he read at this time, and so too every day until he had read the whole through. The custodian, or the custos, then informed him that there were in the two side boxes of the chest certain notes or remarks which some of the ancients had made on several passages contained in the Book of Jasher. These he also read. He had then conceived a great desire of returning to England with a transcript of the Book of Jasher and of the notes. Hereupon he and his companions petitioned the commonalty of the city that they might have the liberty of taking a transcript from there, right? Here they were opposed by the treasurer. Okay, so he's asking for a copy of it so he can take it back to England, probably. Yeah, they were opposed by the treasurer, and their petition was rejected. Some months after this, it came into his mind that they should petition to have leave to make an English translation of the said book and notes. Accordingly, one morning, having drawn up the petition, he sent John Huntingdon with it and a wedge of gold to the treasurer with a letter desiring his opinion of it. After some days, he received the answer that he had considered of his request, and would shortly relate the affair to the recorder of the city and take his opinion thereon. Upon this, he dispatched Thomas of Malmesbury with a wedge of gold as a present to the recorder, together with a copy of the petition he had sent the treasurer. A few days after this, he received directions from the recorder to attend the next court, and then the petition was granted. So yeah, again, gold speaks. Give him a gold bar, and he'll give you all the permission you want. The order of court ran as such: we grant unto Alcuin and his two assistants full liberty and power of translating out of the original Hebrew the volume of Jasher, with the notes appertaining thereto, then contained in a chest in the public library at Ghazni, into English, and into no other language whatever. So they couldn't put it into French or Chinese or nothing. And he likewise ordered that the said English translation be made in the library and in the presence of the custos, or the custodian, at such times of the day as shall be most convenient to the said custos or custodian. They soon began the translation in this manner. The manuscript was laid on a table, round which the custodian or custos and they sat. The custos or custodian opened the volume, and they read the first part or portion, and were permitted to set it down in the original, from where they made each a translation, and the custos or custodian burnt the part they had so transcribed and this was the manner in which they proceeded, but the custos or custodian would not suffer us or them to carry home any of their papers. In fine, pretty sure that says fine, or in fin there, and that, they're not too sure, or maybe it's saying some sort of old English saying like in the end, after all that. After the labour of near a year and 6 months, they completed the translation of the book and notes, to which translation this is prefixed. The treasurer and custos or custodian burnt all other papers wrote by either of us or them, and took from them the translation they had made. In this dilemma they remained for some time, till by a proper application and by petitioning the court a second time, after having been solemnly sworn that they had taken no other copy, nor were possessed of any other papers besides that translation of the volume of Jasher. Then before the court the translation was delivered to them, with a charge that they should not let any person take a copy thereof in any place they passed through in the return to England. So you're not giving them a copy of that copy, which they solemnly promised, and then they were dismissed with proper credentials for their return through Persia. They then reassumed the pilgrim's dress, and after a stay of almost 3 years left Gaznah and came to Ispahan, from there to Casman, and so back to Rome. Here they stayed some time and had an audience of the Pope. Okay, so they met with the Pope and had a talk with him, when he related to His Holiness that he had seen the Book of Jasher spoken of in Joshua and in the second book of Samuel. The Holy Father, or that Pope, who was at 95 years of age at the time, turned to the places he referred to and then cried out, "I have lived to the days of forgetfulness." After a short stay at Rome, they sailed for England and landed at Bristol, after they had been absent from there 7 years. And been back for 7 years. And here's various readings with footnotes. Chapter 1, verse 1. In the head of time. Chapter 10, verse 11. 6. The one that did rule the light, the other that did rule whilst it was dark. 19. And who made the harp and the organ. 20. In his time men began, so forth. Chapter 2, verse 2. And he ventured to travel, and why we should abolish the customs. On the other side it's got wherefore hast thou taken deceitfully undertaken to lead us out of Egypt, etc., etc. And down the bottom, the footnote reads, Publisher's note, there seems to be an original error in the numbering of these references. The reader would find more probable, or will find more probable correspondence between the two references above in verses 43 and 44 of chapter 3. And this other footnote on this side about chapter 34 verse 7, 10 were too strong for them. Who can command the Reubenites, the Gadites, and all the people of Israel to go up to war? And it's published this note. This verse will be found to correspond more correctly with verse 19 of chapter 34 of this book. The formation of the world and creation of man. The book of Jasher. 1 Hebrew. The upright, that's what its name means. Okay, there's a footnote indicated there. So that's what its name is. The upright. Chapter 1, the formation of the world. 3, the light shines. 7, the earth is productive. 11, the creation of man. 13, the birth of Cain and Abel. 17, of Enoch. 23, the death of Adam. A M1, it's got all this footnotes or indicators on the side here. Hebrew, the prime, Hebrew, the desert, etc. Whilst it was the beginning, footnote indicated, so you match it with this one here, the prime. Don't forget this is probably Old English. Yeah, Yorkshire. He's a Yorkshire man apparently. This guy that translated it. Okay, anyway, it says here, whilst it was the beginning, or the prime, darkness overspread the face of nature. Hebrew, the desert. And the ether moved up on the surface of the chaos. The atoms, deconfused mass of matter. So it's getting very scientific there. it came to pass that a great light, Hebrew the flame or burning, shone forth from the firmament and enlightened the abyss, if Hebrew the bottomless pit. That's basically what translate says. And the abyss fled before the face of the light, or darkness, right? And divided between the light and darkness, so that the face of nature was formed a second time. And behold, there appeared in the firmament 2 great lights, the one to rule the light and the other to rule the darkness. And the ground, Hebrew the earth or nature, brought forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree after his kind, and every beast after his kind, and everything that creepeth after their kind. And the waters brought forth the moving creatures after their kind. So it's basically similar to the account of Genesis that we have today. And when all these things were fulfilled, behold, Jehovah, Hebrew, I am that I am, appeared in Eden. Delighted, apparently that was what it means in Hebrew, delighted. And created man and made him to be an image of his own eternity, Hebrew, likeness. And to him was given power and lordship, Hebrew, rule, authority, over all living creatures and over every herb and over every tree of the field. And it came to pass in the process of time that the man begat Cain, Hebrew, the possessed, and he also begat his brother Abel, Hebrew, the feeder. And Cain was the first man who tilled the ground. And Abel was a feeder of sheep, and it carries on, as we said, very much like your modern version of the Book of Genesis. And Cain went out and dwelt on the east of Eden in the land of Nod. Where is that? Hebrew, peregrination. Seems to skip some. And Cain begat Enoch, the civilized. Then did men begin to build cities. And unto Lamech, Hebrew the mean-spirited, was born Jabal, Hebrew the experienced, who was the first who taught men to build tents. And unto Lamech was born Tubal-Cain, Hebrew the emulous, he was the first who wrought in brass, he dealt in brass and iron. He's like a blacksmith, and he built up his harp and his organ, Hebrew, all kinds of music, and so forth. And it says here, and Adam lived 930 years and he died. Okay, in the original hayyāšār script, the Aramaic, it's talking about his lineage, not that he lived that long. Chapter 2, the birth of Noah. Okay, so this Alcuin has translated that. So it could be right, it could be incorrect there. Okay. But apparently it's pretty accurate. Okay, it goes on about Noah in 1056, and Lamech, the son of Methuselah, Hebrew, the soul of death, begat Noah, rest in Hebrew, and so forth. Yeah, quite interesting. Yeah, it's basically the Book of Genesis, but it's like left out a lot of the small details, right, that you find in the Book of Genesis, or large detail. We're going to jump ahead because it's basically going straight into Abraham and Sarah. Okay. But it's good how it's got the Hebrew meanings on the side here, and even the dates, supposed dates, when everything went down. And Zephaniah said, okay, maybe we might be able to find who the actual king was at that time. I don't know if it's telling you who he actually was. It just says Pharaoh. Okay, Zephaniah said, the children of Jacob are become a great people for number, and they increase daily, and they thirst after dominion. They want to take over, right? Be the authority. Now, know, O king, in those days thy father's father advanced one Joseph, an Hebrew, or the alien, foreigner, who was the son of Jacob, prevailing. And he was a stranger or foreigner in the land of Egypt, and he bought Egypt with a price. And Pharaoh said, have we nourished them? And shall they now turn up the hill against us? And Zephaniah, where's D there? Trying to find that 1D. Where is it? Can't see it here. FG. No, we can't see it here. It's got FGHIK. Where the heck is it? D one. No, maybe it's on this side. No. Ah, there it is. Is that it? Very hard to see. Chaldean, the hard. So Zephaniah was the hard. Right, he's a tough guy. Very, very strict, very, very hard man. And Zephaniah stood forth and said, hearken unto me, O Pharaoh, king of Egypt, let thy servant speak, let the words of thy mouth find favour before thee, and so forth. Okay, and he talks about, well, you know, they might join our enemies to overtake us, overpower us, and rule, because, like he said, they want dominion. And it looks like he sent this Zephaniah to Goshen, to the children of Jacob, saying to him, you got to number the males according to your tribes, from him that is able to go forth to battle, even to the Ori head. The females also ye shall number the children of Jacob, both males and female. So basically asking for how many are there. And Pharaoh did so, and then he said, behold, the sons of Jacob are more in number than my own people. Up now, let us set over them taskmasters, for the land of Egypt groaneth, it is heavy laden, it bendeth under its burthen. So it sounds like it was in this great process of building or rebuilding or finalising it. There's a lot of work to be done. So they'll use those people as slaves to do all that work, possibly. What's this? And Pharaoh said, of the increase of the land of Egypt you put every year into the storehouses, the 10th part thereof. And the increase of the land of Goshen shall the children of Jacob bring unto Pithom and Ramses. It's the city of Ramses, right? Or threatening. Year by year the 10th part thereof, without waste shall they bring it. So the Egyptians were eased of their burdens, and the children of Israel were grievously oppressed. So they were doing all the work for them. All these things which I, Jashar, have written, received I from Caleb, Hebrew the Hearty. Is that the right one? Yeah, the hearty. His father, even from Hezron, his father's father, and from Azubah, the chaste, who travelled with him. Pharaoh again oppresses the Israelites. He orders the males of the Hebrews to be killed. Moses is born. Pharaoh's daughter intercedeth, or she comes in between them, in between that decree for the Hebrew males. Moses becomes her son. Now when was this? Pharaoh was greatly vexed, and he said, "This people will eat us up, our house and home. Wherefore we shall slay the male of the Hebrews that cometh out of the womb. In the day that he is born shall he surely die." Now when the daughter of Pharaoh heard of these things, she sought to turn away the evil imaginations of her father against the males of the children of Israel. And it came to pass that Moses the son of Amram, Hebrew the praiser, by Jochebed his wife, Hebrew the comely, was the first male that came out of the womb after the decree of the Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to slay all the males of the Hebrews. And Jochebed, the mother of Moses, was Miriam. That looks like the praiser. So hard to see these alphabetical indicators.